The film opens on a broadcast that fills the screen with the warm hum of an old TV. A man sits in front of the camera, speaking about a place most people still struggle to believe is real. He calls it the grid, a living digital world built inside a computer system. He describes it with the confidence of someone who has seen it firsthand, explaining how its streets, its skies, even its people exist with a kind of presence that mirrors real life. In his eyes, the grid is not just a system. It is a frontier, and he believes that in a few years the line dividing the virtual and the physical world will fade until both worlds can live side by side. Years later, inside the vast geometric landscape of the grid, a new program is born. His name is Ares. He materializes inside an empty room, surrounded by towering walls of shifting data. Before he can fully understand his surroundings, a group of sentries appear and attack with flawless coordination. Ares falls almost instantly and his body shatters into light. Moments later he reloads and stands again in the same spot. The sentries attack again and again. With each reset, Ares learns the patterns of their movements. The loops push him past fear, past hesitation, until he strikes with perfect precision and dismantles the sentries that once overwhelmed him. Once the room quiets, a triangular weapon takes shape on a pedestal in front of him. Ares reaches out and takes it. Suddenly, a new program appears, almost human in the way he studies Ares. He tells Ares that he is his creator and that Ares was designed with a single purpose. He is the defender of the grid. Ares accepts the title with visible pride as his creator vanishes, leaving him alone in the echo of the empty room. In the real world, a sleek warehouse carries the logo of Dillinger Systems. Its new CEO, Julian, stands in front of a group of powerful officials. He talks about the promise of merging digital life with flesh and metal. He shows them a prototype of what that future looks like. His engineers initiate a transfer, and a digitized tank program materializes in the open floor of the warehouse. Julian explains that the tank is immune to guns, explosions and nearly anything the human world can throw at it. Then he reveals Ares, fully uploaded into the real world for the demonstration. Ares scans the officials one by one, taking in their faces and movements. A thunderstorm rolls outside, and when lightning cracks, Ares instinctively looks toward the sound, confused but mesmerized by something beyond his programming. The officials leave impressed, promising they will return to negotiate. Once the doors close, Ares collapses. His body fractures and crumbles into pieces because Julian still hasn't solved one problem. Ares can't survive more than 20 minutes in the real world. Later, Ares is reloaded back inside the grid. He stands in his room with his second in command, Athena, and tells her about the rain he almost felt in the physical world. Athena listens, but she doesn't understand the concept, since programs are not built to feel. Elsewhere, outside the secret ENCOM headquarters, Eve works late. She has uncovered a hidden code left behind by Kevin Flynn before he disappeared. She runs an experiment with her colleague Seth, uploading a digital orange tree into the physical world. They watch the timer count down, and when 20 minutes pass, the tree is still stable. They realize they have succeeded in something no one thought was possible. Meanwhile, Julian's mother Elizabeth walks into his office. She catches him hacking into ENCOM. He brushes off her concern, claiming he's only checking the competition. Meanwhile, inside ENCOM's system, alarms burst to life. A virus has infiltrated the network. Elsewhere, ENCOM is hosting a massive event. Their chief technology officer, AJ, stands before a cheering crowd, but backstage, Ares and his sentries have already slipped into the ENCOM program. Ares steps through streams of raw data until he finds Eve's hidden files. He watches her recordings, listens to the way she speaks about AI with hope, even hears her talk about her sister who died recently. Before Ares can disconnect, an antivirus unit arrives. Ares fights through the flood of attackers, saving one soldier, but they are nearly overrun. Julian drops a digital worm into the system, and wipes everything it touches, including Ares. Meanwhile, AJ's presentation glitches, as his screen turns blood red. He panics and cuts the show short. Ares reloads on the grid again. His creator assigns him a new mission. He must retrieve Eve and the code she discovered. Out in the real world, Eve and Seth are flying back to ENCOM. They split up, knowing Julian may target them. At the same time, Julian uploads Ares and Athena into the real world again. They land on their bikes, immediately track Eve through traffic feeds and chase her through the city. Eve darts into a parking structure. She then pushes her bike into Athena and knocks her over the edge. She steals Athena's bike and races away. Ares pursues her through traffic until they crash near an old warehouse. Eve stumbles away and throws the USB containing Flynn's code into the water. A helicopter descends overhead, while Ares demands the code from her. Suddenly, the timer runs out. He blinks out of existence. The transfer destabilizes, and Eve is accidentally pulled into the grid. Ares reforms inside the system. His creator presses him for the files he recovered and orders him to locate Eve, no matter the cost. Julian wants her extracted from the grid, even though extraction could kill her here and in the real world, but Ares hesitates. Something about Eve's recordings has changed him. He feels something he shouldn't. Instead of obeying, He breaks protocol. He pulls Eve from her holding cell and escapes with her. Athena reports to Julian, telling him Ares has malfunctioned and fled with the target. Julian orders her to destroy him and bring Eve back alive. Programs flood after them as Ares and Eve ride toward the transfer portal. Ares forces open the gates and tells Eve she must keep her promise. If he can get her out of Julian's system, she must create a code that will let him live in the real world without dying in 20 minutes. She agrees because she knows he just risked everything for her. They reach the portal and light engulfs them. Their bodies dissolve into streams of data as they transfer back into the real world, landing on the floor of Julian's warehouse. The moment they regain form, they get inside a van and race off together to find a place where Eve can rebuild the code and keep both of them alive. Later, Ares steals a faster car and floors it. Eve braces as the engine screams and they tear onto the freeway. They weave between cars until the towers of Encom rise ahead, catching the last light of the day. Inside the headquarters, they meet with Seth inside Flynn's old office. They power up the transfer device and prep the shot that will punch him into their version of the grid. Across the city, Julian completes the final steps of Athena's physical transfer. Her shape sharpens as she enters her body, and when she opens her eyes, the warehouse lights flare against irises that aren't human. He gives her directive: find Ares and Eve. Athena lifts off the ground and vanishes through the exit. She scatters herself across the city's cameras until she finally spots Eve and Ares inside Encom. She flies there, but Ares has seen her. As he rushes to defend Eve and Seth, the machine begins pulling Ares into the grid, leaving Eve and Seth at the mercy of Athena. Soon, Athena storms through the office, wrecks the transfer rig, and turns on Seth. He barely escapes the first strike and moves on to Eve. As she's about to pull her into their grid, the fire sprinklers go off. Athena stops, stunned to feel water for the first time. Before she can understand it, her body glitches and she times out. Back in her grid, something inside Athena catches fire. She erupts out of the portal and gets into Julian's warehouse. Julian demands to know why she returned without permission. She reminds him he gave her orders to capture Eve at any means necessary. Elizabeth walks in, panicked by the alarms and the unstable grid. She reaches for the switches, but Athena kills her on the spot. Julian is shaken, as his creation was never supposed to break chain of command. Deep inside the grid, Ares is escorted to Flynn's consciousness. Flynn asks what he wants, and Ares explains the fractures in his code, the feelings he cannot define, the urge to disobey, and the pull toward Eve's danger. Flynn studies him, as something in Ares reminds him of the early days of life forming in the system. Flynn grants him the permanence code and sends him off. Outside, Athena dispatches her soldiers across the city. Eve runs through the streets, trying to avoid drones overhead, but she is surrounded. Before they capture her, military aircraft roar above and open fire on Athena's ship, sending it crashing down. Elsewhere, Ares completes the transfer back into the real world. He reappears in Flynn's old office, sparks falling off his new body. Meanwhile, Athena has now captured Eve inside her tank as they're now off to Julian's warehouse. Suddenly, Athena sees Ares down the street, in which he hurls his disc at an armored tank and shreds its wheel, dropping the machine on its side. Athena charges him with her soldiers, but Ares fights with precision and calm. One by one the Dillinger units collapse, their systems freezing. AJ has hacked the network and shut down the entire command structure. Athena times out again. This time her body collapses for good. Julian watches his empire fall apart, and knows prison is waiting for him. In desperation he transfers himself into the grid to escape any consequence. Elsewhere, police find Eve wandering the broken streets, shaken and alone, as Ares is gone. Months later, somewhere far from the country, Ares writes to Eve. He explains that he is living off the grid now, trying to understand what he is becoming. He talks about the beauty of life in ways he never thought a program could feel. He tells her he is searching for purpose, and until he finds it, he will keep moving. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe for more notifications. Until next time. See you soon.